Assalamu alaikum everyone. Welcome to IQ Illuminating Quran. My name is Sahar Rizk. I hope everyone is doing well. Today's story or biography is about four people who translated the Quran. Sha'rawi, Asad, Pickthall and Yusuf Ali. So I'm going to give a little bit about their background and then I came across this person, so we're going to talk about him too. Our first is Muhammad Mutoli Sha'rawi, and I use him a lot for the verses. He was born in 1911 in Egypt. At age 11, he completely memorized the Quran. He graduated from Faculty of Arabic Language, Al-Azhar. That explains when he always breaks down the words into letter, how it affects it, and the grammar. He went to earn his teaching certification in 1943. He married a relative by per the wish of his mom. She chose his wife for him. He complied, and he had 3 boys and 2 girls. There's not a lot of information about his family other than that. And he later graduated from a religion institution in Tanta before moving on to Zagazig and finally Alexandria. He moved to Saudi Arabia, worked as a professor in Sharia in the University of Qura, al-Qura. 1960, he was appointed the director of Islamic Call in the Tanta al-Azhar. And 1961, he was appointed Inspector of Sciences in the Ministry of Awqaf. In 63, he turned to Egypt. He serves as director of the Grand Sheikh of Al-Azhar. In 1970, he was appointed the Faculty of Sharia in Mecca. Then the president of the Department of Graduate Study of King Abdulaziz in 1972. Sha'rawi he also had a TV show program explaining fiqh and ayat. He had all these books, Isra and Maraq and Islam and Modern Thinking, all these books, Miracles of Quran. He also was working on the reflection of the Quran, so he released a mini series of different surahs of the Quran. He died in 1998 at the age of 87 in Egypt. The second translator is Abdullah Yusuf. He is a barrister. Abdullah Yusuf was born in India in 1872. He received religious education, eventually recited the entire Quran by memory. He spoke Arabic and English fluently. He earned a scholarship for the University of Cambridge in England. He went to England and studied law in 1891. He earned his BA and master's degree in law. He married Teresa Mary Shelders at the St. Peter's Church in 1900. Now, with her, she had three sons and one daughter. His constant traveling between India and Britain hurt the marriage, and his wife Teresa was unfaithful and had she gave birth to an illegitimate child in 1910. Now they got a divorce in 1912. He married a second wife in Mobe. I'm sorry, that's her. Gratitude and Mobe. In 1920, she became a Muslim. But they couldn't escape the harassment of their first wife and her children, and they ended up in divorce. With World War One, unlike Muslims, Yusuf Ali supported the British effort against the Ottoman, his fellow Muslims of the Ottoman Empire. So in 1947, Ali went back. Yusuf Ali was among the many Indians who returned to India to take on political posts, but of course he was abandoned by the British. He was abandoned by his family, and Muslims didn't really trust him because of the positions against Muslim. He was outspoken about it too. So he was also a fellow in the University of Punjab and a member of the committee on the University of Punjab. He wrote all these books, Fundamentals of Islam, Aims and Methods, Personality of a Man in Islam, The Message of Islam, but the most popular book was the translation of the Quran, the Holy Quran. Ali spent most of the last decade living in National Liberal Club, like a one-room Royal Commonwealth Society. He was wandering around in the streets and living in poverty despite he has this amount of money in the bank. Now, on December 9th, 1953, Ali was found destitute, bewildered, in a door in Westminster by a policeman who took him to the hospital. He was charged the following day and taken to, I guess, an elderly home, but he passed away with a heart attack the very next day. So he was found on the 9th, passed away on 10th. And he died alone the same day. That's so sad. That is the saddest story ever. I was trying to figure out what went wrong. How could he have such a bad ending and sad ending? Was it the wedding that he had in the church? But then he paid the price. He had a miserable life with his children and the second wife. And then could be the fellows that the British war, when he actually was against the fellow Muslims. I don't know, God knows, but it's a sad story. So I was looking up what went wrong. When I came, this guy right here, Robert Spencer, he also published a book the critical Quran. He actually translated. The guy is not Muslim. Yusuf Ali, I'm assuming he's a Muslim, even though he went against fellow Muslims. Um, he's really an anti-Islam, and I looked him up. And he translated just looking for clues or things to show that the Islam is violent. They're all terrorists. Um, Now, how can you even write a book when you're a hater of Islam? And how can you even touch the book? I don't get it. And he also wrote a book about the Prophet, the truth about Prophet Muhammad. How would he know about a supreme person like Prophet Muhammad, a hater? The Quran testified that he is an exalted standard of character. He wrote a second book, Did He Exist? I don't know what nonsense is this. How can you be allowed to translate the Quran if you doubt his existence? That doesn't make sense to me. And then I was looking for what caused him to be such a hater to Islam. Turns out he said that his grandfather was kicked out of Turkey by President Mustafa Kemal because he was Christian. What? What has this got to do with the Prophet? Why are you a hater of the Prophet? He did nothing to you. A lot of people get kicked out for different political reason, religious reason. There are a lot of mad leaders nowadays, or back then too. I'm just grateful that he doesn't have a lot of supporters. He was criticized by the Roman Church, and I'm glad because people of the book know that our prophet exists, and it's wrong to disrespect. He was banned from the UK because he creates so much hatred and violence. Every public speaking event since 2017, he was protested against, petitioned against. He was shouted down, heckled. At Stanford University, group of people just walked out, group of the students. Government of Pakistan and Malaysia banned his book. We should ban his book too. So please don't buy this book, Critical Quran. Don't even read it because it's going to be full of hatred. I know wrong people is going to buy it because, but truly, buy a different book. Some people go into reading the Quran, trying to prove, and God somehow leads them to Islam, and they convert. But this guy, I'm not sure. May God guide him in the right way. The next one, the Mohammed Pickthall. He was born in Cambridge, in London, 1875. His father was a reverend, a clergy of the Anglican Church. His two stepsisters were nuns, and he was expected really to follow the footsteps. So instead he went actually on a mission to the Middle East. He traveled to the Middle East, but instead of working for the church, he actually fell in love with the culture and the civilization, and he went to Egypt and published a couple of books. The first one was The Fisherman Said, and the second one was Children of the Nile, 1908. He wrote about the Arabi Revolution. He He was a strong ally of the Ottoman Empire. He wanted to convert to Islam in the 1890s, but he didn't before the World War One, but he didn't. He was totally against the British policy, though, against the Ottoman Empire. He was against the Russians for how they treated the Indians. So he kind of advocated for the Muslims. Very nice. Um, he publicly took the Shahada, confessed the faith on 1917, so he officially became a Muslim publicly. But it was so subtle. They introduced him as fellow Muslims. A couple of days he went to working Muslim confession, London prayer hall, and formally announced. Okay, so he did announce formally. And he developed the Anglo-Ottoman Society to improve the relations between the British and the Ottoman Empire with Muhammad Ali. He's half Egyptian and half Sudanese. However, Muhammad Ali purchased guns for the Libyans to raise against the Italian, which hurt him, Muhammad Pickthall, because he became on the British blacklist until the end of World War One. British continues to encourage Greece to fight against Turkey, and he said, as an Englishman, he's ashamed. As a Muslim, he's angry. So he was loyal to England, but because he's a Muslim and he supported the Ottoman, and he wrote article criticizing the government policy, it didn't help him much. And Sir Mark Sykes wanted him enlisted in the army to get him out of the way and stop writing articles. So he did become a corporal in charge of the influenza isolation hospital. He later identified himself as Sunni and Hanifi school, and he was active in natural leader within Islamic organization. 1920, he went to India with his wife. His wife was the Bombay Chronicle magazine editor, and he was the principal of high school. He was always interested in languages from young age, and he started working on translating the Quran. But to him, God's words cannot be translated, so he named his book The Meaning of the Glorious Quran, translated into English and published in 1930, authorized by the Azhar, head of the Azhar. He retired in 1935 and went back to England. His wife didn't really like India, and he suffered typhoid. He also had malaria from his first trip to Palestine and Syria. When he went back to England, he had a flu. He died from a heart attack in 1936. So a year right after he went back to India, his wife transferred his body to a Muslim barrier. He was buried next to a mosque. This information was from the Jazeera documentary. And then the last one is Muhammad Asad, and these are his books. He was born in 1900 in Germany, the eastern part of Australia, born a Jewish family. He acquired a passing fluency in Hebrew, Aramaic by age of 13. In addition, his native Germany, Polish languages. In mid-20, he also could read English, French, Persian, and Arabic fluently. Wow, such a genius. He studied Jewish Bible. He engaged in argument with Zionist leaders like Chaim Weizmann. Um, what this is about is he woke up. He's a leader who woke up and decided that they should acquire Palestine, even though it wasn't theirs. But they took that was the that was his mission. That person voicing his reservation about the aspect. So he didn't like it at all. Um, Muhammad Asad. He started reading the Quran in translation and discussing it with his wife, who was German. And one day he was traveling in Berlin underground in 1926, and the people there were dressed well, fit well, but didn't look happy. Very oppressed, he said. He turned to his wife and asked, she was an artist and she knows how to read expressions. And he says, "What do you think these people?" She said, "They don't look happy." And when he went home, he had the Quran, and the first surah that was open, it said, "You are obsessed by greed for more and more until you go down to your grave obsessed. And you will see and be asked, what did you do?" They don't see that they are living through hell now, and one day they will see hell with their eyes of certainty. And then you will be asked, what did you do with the boom, which is the blessing of life? Asad was so struck by finding a surah that explains what he saw in the underground and asked himself, how is it possible that a man living in the 1400 living 1400 years ago had composed the book describing the situation of today, someone who was unlettered Arab. But he explained this later that she said because he was Arab, and she said no, Arab or any other man, he could be anyone, the genius, but no. But actually, that is the miracle of the Quran, that it came down to a man who did not know how to read or write. So he was right on point, who did not know anything. No, this book must be inspired, and certain it was revealed book. So that was his aha moment. Next day, he went to the head of Muslim community in Berlin, whom he knew, and told him, I want to become a Muslim. What should I do? And he said, it's very simple. Give me your hand. And he repeated and repeat after me, La ilaha illallah and Muhammadun Rasulullah. He did, and he repeated. He was told he was a Muslim. He then was told, your name is Leopold, Leon, Asad in Arabic. So let your name be Muhammad Asad. And he accepted in 926. And his wife converted too with him. I thought it was a sweet story. They went to Egypt and stayed there for a while, and they went to Hajj to Mecca with his wife, but she mysteriously passed away after Hajj. So he remained in his room for a while until King Saudi Arabia invited him to stay in his realm, and he went and stayed there for 6 years. He traveled through Saudi Arabia. Now, the whole thing, the king invited him, and he actually had a car, but Muhammad Asad actually wanted his permission to travel on camel for 25 years. 25 days to 30 days. And I'm not sure he says he's closer to God in the desert. After his conversion to Islam, he moved to Saudi Arabia, making a journey by camel across the Arabia Desert, uh, Taima to Mecca. He stayed there for nearly 6 years, during which he made uh, 5 pilgrimage. Alongside, he started to write in a Swiss newspaper and continued until 1934. When the Second War came or broke in 1939, Asad's parents were arrested and subsequently murdered by the Nazis. Asad himself was arrested in 1939 also, a day after the war broke, by the British as an enemy of the line. This was despite the fact that Assad had refused his German nationality after the annexation of Australia in 1938 and was insisted on retaining his Australian citizenship. Assad spent 3 years in prison, while his family of his wife and 2 children uh, being released from detention earlier. They lived under the protection of Niyaz Ali Khan. Uh, Assad was finally released and reunited with his second wife in 1945. By chance, later on, he met his third wife, American Polish origin. Uh, she was beautiful and very young. He learned that she already embraced Islam and he decided to marry her. Now, that was against the Foreign Office, the rules of the Foreign Office. He was supposed to get a prior permission to marry a non Pakistani national. He applied through the proper channels, but his application was rejected, so he submitted his resignation um, from the Foreign Service. He divorced. He said it's Arabian wife or Arabic wife, but I think it's Pakistani, because why would the Pakistani harass him? So she's either Pakistani or Arabic, I'm not sure. Munira. So he divorced the second wife and devoted himself to writing his autobiography. Later, after 17 years of research, he published his Message of the Quran, English translated with the commentaries. His work, and then he also released other books, People Who Think, Yuqinun, the People Who Think, and Islam at Crossroad, and This Law of Ours, and other essay in 87. Toward the end of his life, he moved to Spain. He lived there with his wife, the third wife, until his death in 1992 at the age of 91. He was buried in a Muslim cemetery, in Spain. In 2008, the entrance of the UN office in Vienna was named Mohammed Asad Platz in commemoration of his work as a religious bridge builder. Asad has been described as biographer as Europe's gift to Islam, mediator between Islam and the West. That's all the translators for the Quran for today. I do have the Asad's book that he had this one right here. And I have this one online and I have the soft cover book. So I'm going to look into it and try to the next video released for the Baqarah. Hopefully, I'm hoping, inshallah, to use it for translation. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. Until next time, take care of yourself. Thank you. Salam alaikum.